What's going on YouTube? Zapp here, and I'm back with the 7th episode of the Zapp Talk series. Now, I'm pleased to announce that with every single episode of the Zapp Talk series that we do, we're getting more and more viewers, so that's really good. And with more and more viewers, that means we're also getting more and more questions that are being asked. So in this episode, I actually have quite a few questions that I want to get through. So let's not waste too much time and get this through with. The first question comes from Jacoby Bryant, and he asks, should I get a PS3 now even though the PS4 is out? Personally speaking, if you did not get a chance to own a PS3 last cycle, I don't see any reason why not. Currently right now the PS4 is out, but there aren't really that many great games to play on it. I think the ones that stand out the most right now currently are Infamous Second Son, Outlast, which is also on the PC, and last but not least, Resogun. Those three are the best games on the PS4 right now, in my personal opinion, as far as exclusive goes. So yeah, if you didn't get a chance to play a PS3 or own a PS3 last console cycle, I don't see a reason why not to get one. You missed out on The Last of Us, you missed out on the Uncharted series, the Resistance series, Killzones 2 and 3, and other things. Like you can get the whole entire God of War collection and all that good stuff, the Infamous collection, for cheap on the PS3, and not to mention PlayStation Plus offering you free games every month that are of great quality. So yeah, man, if you didn't get a chance to get a PS3, I don't see any reason why not to get one, just because the PS4 is out. That's just crazy to me. But I would say go ahead and get one. Like, PS3 is still where it's at right now. This next question comes from Illyrion Horizon. He asks, what are your expectations for MK10? Personally speaking, I only have two things that I want from MK10. One is a better online netcode, because online is very important as far as a game's longevity and reception goes. And two would be great character balance right out the gate. To this very day, characters are still very unbalanced in Mortal Kombat 9. More specifically speaking, Cyrax and Cabal. But yeah, all I want is good online netcode and balanced characters. That's all I really care about. And then later on, probably I'll show a little bit more concern as to which characters should be in the games. But yeah, man, that's all I want from the next Mortal Kombat game, personally. This one comes from Goblin505. He asks, what do you think of the Batman Arkham games? Personally speaking, I don't like the Batman Arkham games. I think they're rather dry and dull. And I also don't have any sort of attachment to Batman at all, because I'm not really a DC comic fan in the slightest. So yeah, I think the Arkham games, for what they're worth, are overrated by many of the people who play them. But they're just not my cup of tea. I'm not really a fan of the Arkham games at all. Let's see. This next question comes from Max Cardillo, and he asks, do I like any JRPGs? I'm not really a big fan of the genre itself, but the last JRPG that I actually felt like I was enjoying was Final Fantasy III. I got the one on the DS back in the day. I had a white DS Lite, and there were really only 4 games on that thing that I really played. It was Guilty Gear Dust Strikers, Star Fox, Final Fantasy III, and Metroid Prime Hunters. And the only JRPG that I really played and thoroughly enjoyed of recent memory was Final Fantasy III. So overall, I'm not really too big of a fan of the JRPG genre, but I do enjoy Final Fantasy III. That was my favorite one. This next one comes from Handmade Leader. He asks, will you do a Raven tutorial? And this is a question that I get asked very often. In regards to fighting game tutorials and stuff like that. I will not do fighting game tutorials. That's not my cup of tea. It's not my shindig. It's not my bag. I don't do that sort of stuff, because that would require me to know every single little detail about my character, as well as other certain characters and matchups and things like that. And I don't really have the time nor the patience to sit down and learn a character's ins and outs and their flaws and things like that. So absolutely not. No tutorials coming from me. That's not really what my channel is built off of. So yeah. This next one comes from I Kyondra. He asked, "What do you think of the MOBA genre and the competitive scene behind it?" For those who don't know what the MOBA genre of games is, that is the League of Legends slash Dota style of games, right? And personally, I think that those games are awesome. Great strategy games. Very few games actually require you to have some sort of like knowledge or thought process anymore. So, me personally, I'm a huge fan of the Dota 2. I love Dota 2. Not really the best at Dota, but I do manage. I don't know how the hell I get wins, but I do manage in Dota 2. So yeah, man, those games are really fun. Also, I think the competitive scene behind it is actually probably the best right now as far as esports goes. So you know that Twitch TV is messing up. Like you can't really load a chat properly or view someone's video or something like that. You know that the reason behind that is probably because there's a tournament for League of Legends or Dota or something like that going on at the moment. So yeah, man, those games are very hype when you know what the hell is going on, and they're absolutely good for the competitive scene of gaming and esports. This next one comes from Combat Racer 1624, and he asks, "Do you like any of the Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, or Ratchet and Clank games?" I never really played any of them, primarily being because I grew up playing Sega Dreamcast and not PS2. Not that I hated it, but I just had no interest in it. I was playing my Dreamcast growing up, so I never personally owned a PS2. My brothers did. My two older brothers, they had a PS2, but I just didn't care for it. So, yeah, I never played Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, or a Ratchet game. I did play one of the ones on PS3. I forgot what it was called, but I just didn't really care for it because I'm not a fan of Ratchet and Clank. So, yeah, I didn't really play those games. This next one comes from Oscar Burmia, and he asks, "Do you think or agree that a bad sequel for a good game series can kill the game series?" I disagree. I think that it would take at least 2 games to ruin a series. Case in point, Gears of War, right? Gears of War 1, great game. Gears of War 2, better game. Gears of War 3, terrible. And Gears of War Judgment, the nail in the coffin for me. I know for me personally, I have no interest in the next Gears of War game, and in my opinion, Gears of War is dead as far as the franchise goes. Like, I don't want to think of any other Gears of War game after Gears of War 2. And this is my opinion, so all you little Gears fanboys who go around ranting and raving saying that Gears of War 3 is the best of all time, that is all subject to opinion. You can cry and bitch and moan about something like that somewhere else, because this is just me giving a general example to answer a question. So I think it would take more than just one bad game in a franchise to ruin it, because despite my feelings towards Gears 3, I looked at Judgment and said I can probably still find some sort of enjoyment or fun to be had with Judgment, but that really wasn't the case, and that was very short-lived. And now Gears is just basically dead to me. So no, because if I'll put it to you like this to make it even more simple, right? If a company messes up on a sequel, right? You think, okay, with their next game, they're probably going to learn from the mistakes of the previous, and they're going to make it better. But if they don't learn from those mistakes, then you probably just give up on them altogether. You know what I'm saying? If a company isn't learning from their mistakes, and they're continuously, effing up and not doing right by the consumer and not listening to the consumer, then, what reason would you have to, put faith in them moving forward? So that's how I feel about it. So I think it would at least take 2 games to really kill a series, just in my opinion. This one comes from Chris Cofield Jr. He asks, "Will you be getting Destiny when it releases?" I will be getting Destiny, but I'm probably not going to get it on release. Currently, I haven't even finished a lot of the games that I own. So I'm at this point right now in gaming where I want to just sit down, relax, and play the games that I have. I have so much going on. I still haven't finished Outlast. I have not completed Resogun. I'm thinking about going back and trying to get platinum trophies for Killzone Shadowfall. I have a lot of games on my PS3 I haven't even completed yet. I have a bunch of PC games I haven't completed yet, and so on and so forth. So I kind of want to go and finish all the games that I have, even my Vita games. I have a ton of Vita games that I haven't completed yet. So I want to try and finish as many games as I possibly can before I go out and start buying new stuff. So right now, as it stands, I don't have Infamous Second Son, and I'm probably not going to get it until I finish a couple of the games that I already own. What use or what point would there be in me buying more games if they're just going to get stacked on top of each other and I'm not going to touch it? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to eventually get Destiny. Who knows? By the time Destiny comes out, I'll have finished most of my games, and then I can probably devote a lot of my time to it. But I'm probably not going to get it day one the way it's looking right now. So time will tell. Let's see, one or two more here. I hate that YouTube marks a lot of comments as spam without my permission. So if you posted a comment and it's not showing up, odds are that YouTube marked it as spam without me knowing. So I have to go back and approve the comment again. So let's see. This next one comes from Mr. Chromes. He asked, "Do you enjoy sports games?" Not really. The reason being is because I think with sports games, I feel like, why do what I could do outside, inside? You know what I mean? Like, if I wanted to play basketball, I would go outside and play basketball. If I wanted to go play soccer or football, I will go out and play soccer. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I don't play the video games when I can do something like that in reality. Whereas with a first-person shooter, or with a game like Grand Theft Auto, an open-world game, I could do whatever the hell I want in the video game realm without having to suffer consequences by trying to imitate it in the real world. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't really play sports games like that, just for that purpose. Alright, so this last question comes from Jers, or Jersey, I don't know how you pronounce that. And he asked, "Do you think a second game of The Last of Us would be a good or a bad idea? And could they even make the game better than it already is?" Well, a lot of people always have this misconception that the sequel for a really good franchise, whether it be a movie or a video game or a book or whatever the case is, can never really outshine the original. And that's not always true. There are some cases, which are very rare cases, where the sequel does do better than the one that precedes it. In the case of Naughty Dog, in particular, with The Last of Us, I think Naughty Dog has proven that they are capable of making a really good sequel to a game that was also very highly well received. Case in point, Uncharted. Uncharted 1 was amazing. Uncharted 2 was better than Uncharted 1, So, yeah, it can be done. It definitely can be done. And in the case of God of War 3 is probably the best in the entire series. So you can make really great sequels. As far as should they even make another Last of Us, why the hell not? The Last of Us was probably one of the more decorated games of last gen, if not the most decorated game of last gen, as far as visuals, storytelling, gameplay, and all that good stuff. So I don't see any reason why not to cash in on that success while maintaining a great work ethic on the game itself, on the sequel. The same work ethic that you put towards the original. So, yeah. And that's probably one of the main reasons why I even bought a PS4 to begin with, was because I wanted to see The Last of Us 2 come out on the PS4 and see how that would look and play out. So, yeah. Sony, Naughty Dog, they should definitely be working on The Last of Us sequel. And, yeah. That would be definitely a great idea for everyone. Gamers and for the studios involved with the project. So that's going to do it for this episode of Zapp Talks. Leave your guys' questions in the comment section below this video so that I can answer it on next week's episode of ZT. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace out.